Thank you for participating in the 360 review process. This module is designed to provide training to individuals participating in a 360 review process on how to give effective and constructive feedback. It can be reviewed multiple times and should be used as a reference guide going forward. Let's begin. Before diving into the details of a 360 review, it's important to first answer the question, what is a 360 review? A 360 review aggregates feedback from multiple raters who have worked with an administrator or supervisor. Administrators and supervisors gain feedback from raters who have observed their behaviors from different perspectives. Another question we should answer is, who provides feedback in a 360 review? A 360 review normally involves feedback from an administrator's supervisors, managers, subordinates, peers, as well as their own self-evaluation. In some cases, a 360 review can also come from external contacts outside of the college. Now that we've established what a 360 review is and who is involved in providing feedback, it's time to discuss why a 360 review is important. First of all, 360 reviews are important because they can improve an administrator or supervisor's performance. 360 reviews help identify an individual's strengths and weaknesses. Second, multi-rater feedback provides an administrator or supervisor with different perspectives. 360 reviews involve a variety of different stakeholders related to the employee's job role. These different rater groups, with their combined perspectives, provide far richer feedback than a single manager's view. Another benefit of a 360 review is its formal structure. Feedback is based on a set of pre-established leadership competencies to ensure raters are all on the same page. Finally, 360 reviews increase empowerment. This type of review increases an administrator or supervisor's awareness of how others perceive them. When an administrator or supervisor knows where they stand in the eyes of others, the individual is then empowered to make decisions that build on their strengths, minimize their weaknesses, and further their development as a leader at El Camino College. How to give effective feedback. This section will provide information about competencies, proficiency levels, and the rating scale, and explain how to craft appropriate and informative comments. When you receive a 360 review survey, you'll be asked to assess the administrator's supervisor on 7 pre-identified key competencies. Be sure to read the instructions. Read the competency being evaluated, provide a rating, and write comments that support your rating. Your comments should include demonstrated knowledge, skills, attributes that you have observed and/or experienced when interacting with this individual. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. Your assessment is based on your personal experience and observations, but your comment should be as constructive as possible. We'll discuss in greater detail what constructive feedback consists of. To provide you with a clearer understanding of the relationship between competencies, the rating scale, and proficiency levels, we'll use an example. Let's take a look at the competency of collaboration and teamwork. One of the questions you'll be answering asks, from your experience interacting with this individual, do they demonstrate collaborative skills and teamwork to effectively work with others on campus? There will be a rating scale that you'll click on that ranges from needs improvement to exceptional, which you will use to rate the administrator's supervisor's proficiency level in relation to the competency in question, and the proficiency level is associated with different behaviors. As you can see, the needs improvement rating characterizes work performance behaviors that are severely lacking in collaborative skills or proficiency in building teams, whereas an exceptional rating would be assigned to an administrator or supervisor who demonstrates collaborative behaviors that are beyond what's expected in their role and is truly transformational in building teams. While ratings are useful, written recommendations take an administrator-supervisor's development plan to the next level. Your ability to give constructive feedback is paramount to ensure the effectiveness of a 360 review. Here are a few tips on how to write effective comments. Detail what should be done and why it is important. Explaining why something should be done provides context. Be specific. Link comments and recommendations to specific behaviors. Doing this provides perspective and reduces confusion and/or ambiguity. Use direct, non-judgmental language. Harsh and loaded words are unhelpful, provide no direction, and cannot be incorporated into a development plan. Be balanced. Provide recommendations for leveraging strengths and shoring up weaknesses. It is important that the person you are evaluating understands how to do both. At the bottom of the slide is an example of an unhelpful recommendation. I can't believe you don't share information on a regular basis. You're in the wrong job. Next is an example of a useful recommendation. You have lots of good information and ideas. Share them with the team so we can all understand the operational context and make better decisions. Notice the differences between the comments and how the useful recommendation incorporates the tips we just discussed. Providing detail, being specific, using non-judgmental language, and being balanced. There are a variety of biases that may influence your view of the administrator or supervisor you are evaluating. Informing yourself of these biases will improve the accuracy of your ratings. Let's have a brief discussion about what each of these biases are. Halo effect occurs when a rater's overall perception of an administrator or supervisor is overly influenced by the person's performance in one particular area. Recency effect occurs when a rater weighs an administrator or supervisor's recent behavior too heavily, as opposed to assessing the person's average behavior over the entire evaluation period. Personal bias occurs when the rater shares many personal characteristics with the administrator or supervisor, for example, age, gender, religious values, which are all unrelated to the job and influence the rater to assess that person more favorably. Purpose effect occurs when the rater believes a specific rating or ratings will lead to a desired outcome, positive or negative, for the administrator or supervisor. Leniency effect occurs when a rater wants to avoid being negative or fears repercussions, which leads to inflated scores. Note, however, that for administrators and supervisors, their 360 review results, in terms of the raw data and specific feedback, will not be shared with them, but the aggregated information and common themes and/or concepts will be assessed, compiled, and incorporated into the performance evaluation written by the manager. We are almost at the end of this training, but before we wrap up, let's highlight the key takeaways from this training. El Camino strives to be a development-oriented organization and incorporates a 360 review process as a key strategy for leadership development. Multi-rater feedback is instrumental in giving administrators and supervisors a holistic perspective on their performance. As a result, 360 feedback is an optimal way for employees and their managers to prioritize development goals that are actionable. With objective and constructive feedback provided, a 360 review can significantly improve an administrator or supervisor's development, performance, and as a result, El Camino as a whole. If you're interested in some of the research that's been done on 360 reviews and other leadership development strategies, you might find the following published works of interest. Thank you for being an attentive audience. If you have any questions or concerns about the 360 review or the process, feel free to reach out to Human Resources. We're here to help.